Hi, I'm Adler, co-founder of CoMake, and this is the Standard Knowledge Language Playground. Here you can experiment with and test out standard knowledge language schemas before you use them in your application. Standard knowledge language, if you don't know already, or SKL, is an open source framework for building composable software and enabling interoperability. It's really useful for building applications which need to integrate with data from a lot of different APIs. With it, you can build a unified API for just about anything. Here in the playground, we have a couple examples already loaded in for you to play around with. And I'm going to walk through an example of building a unified API to share things with your application. So here on the left-hand side, you'll see the standard knowledge language schemas. First, the core schemas, then the schemas which you define or edit. Now, to be able to share things through a unified API, we need an abstraction of sharing. We call that a verb, and here you see the share verb. Now, the share verb defines the standardized parameters and return values when you share. And those parameters and return values automatically get mapped to and from integrations. So here I have integrations for multiple file storage tools, Box, Dropbox, and Google Drive to be able to share files, and a task management tool, Asana, to be able to share tasks. Each integration has a corresponding API description. We use open API descriptions for each of these because they have REST APIs. Now, when I execute the share verb with its standard parameters, those parameters are automatically going to get mapped to a correctly formatted web request to each API. And that happens through mappings. So you see here I have a mapping from the share verb to each of these integrations, Asana, Box, and Dropbox. Again, these are just standard knowledge language schemas. Lastly, I have accounts. Accounts are separated from integrations because you might want to have multiple accounts per integration. For example, if you have work and personal, you might want to be able to specify those separately. So here you see I have a Dropbox account and an Asana account. Along with each account are a set of security credentials. That's just a schema that defines things like the access token, client ID, or client secret for when standard knowledge language is using that API. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in my security credentials for Dropbox to be able to share a Dropbox file. And I'm going to pop over to another window to copy that token. Paste it in and save the schema. Now, when I choose the share verb to run, you're going to see here in the interface all the standard parameters of the share verb. To be able to share a Dropbox file, I choose my Dropbox account for the account field, and under shareable source ID, I need to put the ID of a Dropbox file. I'll go over and copy that again from my other window because I have it pre-prepared, and I paste that here. Now I'm going to give viewer permissions to who I'm sharing with, and I'm just going to share to myself for this example. Now when I click run, it's going to send a request to the Dropbox API and return a standardized response according to the share verb. So just like that, just with schemas alone, I was able to use a unified API for sharing and share a file with Dropbox. Here you see it was successful, and you can see also the original response from Dropbox. Now let's say I want to share a task. I've got to go in and fill in my credentials for Asana, where my tasks reside. Again, I'm going to go and copy a credential for that. That's this one. Paste it in and save the schema. So now when I'm going to share, I need to switch to my Asana account and put in the ID of a task on Asana. Again, something I'm going to copy from my other window and paste in here. This permission field doesn't really matter for Asana because all collaborators have the same permissions on tasks on Asana, and I'm just going to share with myself again as an example. Now when I click run, it sends another web request to Asana based on the mappings to Asana rather than Dropbox, and returns a similarly formatted standard response because of the standard response of the share verb. So here you see, again, it was a success. We shared the task, and you can see the original response from Asana. So that's just one example of building a unified API with standard knowledge language. I can't wait to see what else you build with it. And you can copy and share any schemas you create in the standard knowledge language dictionary on GitHub. And thanks.